Hey folks. Okay, in the section on makefiles, right, we went through and talked about the idea of using touch as a way to make a file look like it had been updated as a sort of step in trying to test our makefiles. What I thought we'd do now is to go through and write a script that would test our makefile for us. So in the script, we'll have it do the various touches and print out a message saying, okay, well now it should recompile blah. So let's see what we can do about that, and just as a way of sort of automating our testing for our makefile, so that if we're going through and making changes to it, we can just run this script and it'll run through and we can get a quick look at whether or not we appear to have broken anything in our makefile. So what I'm going to try is we'll take a stab at using the makefile that we created for the example that had the this kind of hierarchy of classes to it, where we had, or hierarchy of files to it, where we had the linked list, the top level data structure, the tree, and the program that used them all. So we've gone through this example a couple of times. We've got a makefile for this, and what we'll do is just test out our makefile, essentially saying, okay, well, if we do a touch on any one of the .cpp files and do make, it should just recompile that one file and link. If we touch the prog.h, it should just recompile prog.cpp and link. If we touch list.h or tree.h, it should just compile that one .cpp file and the prog.cpp file and relink. And if we touch data.h, it should recompile everything and relink. So that's the basic set of tests that we want to run, plus maybe a couple to say, okay, well, if I do a make clean, does it actually remove everything? And if I do a make when there's nothing built, does it rebuild everything? And if I do a make all, does that work? And if I do maybe a couple of make cleans in a row, does anything blow up? If you forget the -f flag in your RM and you try to do a remove when there's nothing there to remove, you get a complaint. So we'll just test some of the more common ideas. And again, I just want to build up a script so that I don't have to kind of manually go through and test my makefile every time I alter something. So let's see what we can come up with there. And we'll just see if we can quickly put together something nice and straightforward for this. All right. So what I'll call this is maybe testmake.sh. Oops. How about I actually edit it? And we'll put our usual hash bang in there, bin bash, and just a script to test our makefile. So maybe we start off and say test one. Let's try clean, maybe twice in a row. You know, after that, everything should be gone. All the .os and exe should be gone. And there should be no complaints. So I do something like a make clean, and then we'll move on and try our other tests. Well, let's just leave it there for now and make this thing executable. And try running it. So it tells me that it's going to try it. It's going to do these two things. And if we do an ls, all the .os are gone and the prog executable is gone. So far so good. All right, so then we go through and let's try test 2, try make, should rebuild everything. And so I do a make. And then we'll follow that up with a test 3, try make again, should rebuild nothing. we'll try our test again. Okay, I should be putting some white space in this so it's a little easier to see what's going on. But our first test went okay. That was the one that just did our make cleans. Then we try a make that should be rebuilding everything, and it went through and it did the 4.0s and it rebuilt the executable. And then our test 3, we tried it one more time and it says there's nothing to be done. So far so good. Let's throw in our -e flag, and I'm going to get some new lines in there just as a bit of white space. Just so I can make this a little bit more readable, hopefully. Let's clear that and give it another run. Okay, that's a little bit more readable anyways. We can see where the separate tests start and end. Okay, so let's throw in a few more. Now let's try, how about test 4, let's do a make clean, then a make progx, right? See if we can build it by target. Build all by the progx target, just to make sure that that's working. So we do a make clean and a make progx. And let's throw in echo -e. I'm just going to throw in a couple of markers here so this looks a little bit cleaner to me when I run it. All right, so all the usual stuff at the beginning. We do our make clean, a make progx, and it actually rebuilt everything. So again, we go through trying this sort of idea. Let's go through and do a test 5. This time, we'll go through and touch each .cpp in sequence. It should rebuild that one and relink. So, for this one, I'm going to use a loop. Let's say for file in star.cpp do, let's touch that file and do a make. Maybe we'll throw in an echo touched file. So hopefully this time it'll go through the 4.cpp files. Oops. And we'll get down to the bottom here someplace. There we are. So for our test 5, it's going through, we touched data.cpp, it rebuilt data and relinked. All right, we touched list, it rebuilt list and relinked. We touched prog.cpp, it rebuilt prog.cpp, yeah, okay, and relinked, and same thing for tree.o. So far so good. And again, you can just keep building up your test file this way. I guess it's going to be a little sloppier with the 4.h files because they're each going to have a different set of things we want them to test. But same sort of idea. Let's touch each .h file, see if it rebuilds correctly. And so we do something like, you know, touch, how about prog.h and an echo touched prog.h should rebuild proc.o and relink, and we do a make. And same sort of idea, you know, we continue, etc., 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 with the other .h's. I'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer. But again, we give it a quick try and see if things look okay down at the bottom. So again, now anytime I go through and start editing my makefile to try and improve it, you know, try and automate things a little bit better, we can rerun this test, right? Rerun this script and get all of the checking in there. That again, anytime you can start automating your testing, you're going to make life a little bit more robust and a little bit more efficient. I don't have to type these things in manually every time. I don't have to make sure that I don't forget a case that just happens to be the one that was bugged. All right, so this is the idea in coming up with some basic test scripts. We'll get into this in much more detail later in the term, but just for an early start and looking at what we can do with makefiles, this is not a bad way to get going. All right, I will leave it there.